to some of the officers to ask them to join me tonight, and our president, War Rochelle, praise on. So hopefully we'll have a good attendance from Esper. Now, Clarence, I'm not sure whether he could make it or not tonight. He says he was a little under the weather.
Aw. Well, if you can believe it, Green Room just went like bam, and we are going to go start recording, friends. And away we go. So if you'd like to continue the chat, join stamps.org for login information. Welcome, friends, to APS Stamp Chat. I'm so happy that you're all here tonight. What a great way to spend a Friday evening. Tonight we have a really special guest, and I'm excited. It's Mr. Howard Ingram. He is the Vice President for Esper, which is the, I had my cheat sheet. Hold on, sorry guys. Which is the Ebony Society of Philatelic Events and Reflections, an international club that seeks to, show diversity on stamps and the African heritage on stamps. And great organization, really cool origin story. Maybe Howard will tell us about it, but I'll put the website in the chat. Anyway, thank you to all our APS members for joining us. We have a multitude of you. If you're not a member yet, please do check out stamps.org. There's a ton of information that's typically delegated for membership only, but it's open now for free through May. So please check that out.
Right.
Truly, thank you. So tonight, like I said, this is Mr. Howard Ingram. He's coming back. He gave us the pleasure of a boomerang effort to come back and present, and his slideshow is dynamite, and I'm sure you're going to really enjoy yourselves. He's extremely knowledgeable, very passionate, and we're so happy to have Howard Ingram here and so many of his fellow Esper members. So thank you for joining us. Howard, why don't you go ahead? We're going to have Q&A afterwards. If you want to put your questions in the chat, designate if you'd like me, the host, to read your chat. Otherwise, I will say your name, give you a couple seconds to respond. If there's awkward silence, I get your chat. So let's rock. Thank you, Howard.
All right, thank you, Heidi. Thanks for inviting me and allowing me to return a second time around here tonight. Looks like all our technical difficulties have been resolved, so I welcome everyone to the presentation tonight. African Canadians on stamps, or either Black Canadians on stamps. Either the terms are interchangeable, so you can use either one. Just a little bit of history about me, Howard Ingram. I'm from Hampton, Virginia. That's on the eastern side of the U.S. I've been a stamp collector for approximately 25 years, maybe a little longer. I also collect coins and currency, so double whammy on me. Lot of my money goes toward collections. I've been a member of Esper since 2013 and vice president of Esper even a shorter duration, only a year or so. But I enjoy being a part of that organization. We just celebrated 30 years just last year, and we had our annual, big event in Washington, D.C. It was a really fantastic time we had there. So please check us out later on. We will talk about, and the website is in the presentation, so you can go there, visit us, and see all the things we have. We have our webmaster, Clarence McKnight, has done an excellent job there, and we'll talk about that a little later. Primary collector of Black heritage stamps and Blacks on stamps. Also do collected of UN, quite a bit of stuff. Collection contains Blacks on US, Canada, and foreign stamps. I'll even show you some of my other ones. The Canadians are probably, stamps are probably the smallest part of my collection. been a member of APS for about 4 years now. I think I might have joined when they were in Richmond, Virginia, a few years back when the stamp show came to Virginia. Purchased my first African Canadian stamp in 2011, and there you're looking at the stamp. It was a gentleman called William Hall. He had won the Victorian Cross. He was a naval hero. He was honored on the stamp on February the 1st, 2010, and I purchased it off of eBay. And then I began to look for more Canadian Black history stamps from then on, and was able to go back and collect many of those stamps that I didn't have, starting almost from scratch. And over the last few years, I've been able to catch up and pretty much on track now with the number they have issued. The first stamp I want to talk about, they think the first Black person recorded in Canada was a gentleman by the name of Matthew Decosta. He was a translator and businessman in the fur trade. He was thought to be an interpreter for a Canadian named Samuel de Champagne, and he's had some different items issued. I even have those stamps. I don't keep them all together, but that just reminds me I need to go get that and put it, his stamps with the Canadian stamps. I have a sort of a little book I keep them all in, and I need to go get. I actually got the Samuel D. Champagne stamps were issued when they had the 2006 World Stamp Show here in America, and that was held in DC. I planned to attend that show for the whole week, but only got to go one day because of my work schedule. So that was really, I told my boss, I was so upset with him, and I worked for the shipyard, Newport News shipbuilding for 33 years, and I was so upset with him that day that me and him almost had it out. But nevertheless, on with the presentation. But Decosta was from modern Guinea, and he was honored on a Canadian Black History stamp in 2017. So the first stamp wasn't issued for him, but issued for someone else. He was finally honored in 2017 on a stamp, and you can see the stamp to your right there and what the front cover of the booklet looked like. So I have to explain to you about the Underground Railroad, because what we had was many of the initial Blacks in Canada later to become citizens of Canada came from America. They were slaves, and the Underground Railroad was how they got into Canada. There were many well-used routes stretching west, some through Ohio and up through the Midwestern states in the US. And the more used route was north through Pennsylvania into New England and on to Canada through that route, through New York and into Canada through that route. Slaves, with the help of Quakers and other abolitionists, were able to escape to Canada. And that trip was no small feat, because that was about 500 miles when you consider Virginia here. If a slave escaped from Virginia, they had to transverse 500 miles to get into Canada. Initially, they just had to get to Pennsylvania, which was 100 miles, but when the Fugitive Slave Acts were passed here in America in the 1700s, 1793 to be exact, that allowed the owners and slave catchers to apprehend escaped slaves and bring them back to their point of origin. So you could no longer stay in Pennsylvania and New York. You actually had to go on into Canada in order to have your freedom. Slavery had already been abolished in Canada, Canada being one of the British territories when Britain abolished slavery all its territories also were affected by that order, so Canada also. But slaves would receive sanctuary in Canada at that time. And we understand and know, many of you may have heard of her, and she's one of the stamps in the Black Heritage series. Harriet Tubman was the most famous conductor for the Underground Railroad. She guided hundreds of slaves to freedom. Also, some of her family members, her mother and father, several brothers, and her sister wasn't able to go, or at least one of them wasn't. Later on, you'll see a family picture of Harriet that I threw in the presentation. But she was also a scout and a spy for the Union Army during the Civil War. She was honored on the USPS with a stamp in 1978. So let's go on and we'll show you some of the people here, or some of the stamps. The first African Canadian on the stamp was Josiah Henson. He escaped to freedom in Canada, like I said, on the Underground Railroad. Approximately 30,000 slaves escaped America and went into Canada on the Underground Railroad. So they were a busy lot. And just as I said, Harriet Tubman led hundreds of them to freedom herself. She was a pretty busy conductor. She went back at least a dozen times. She went back into the southern states to free people and to lead them on the Underground Railroad to freedom. But Josiah Henson, he escaped to freedom in Canada. He became the model for the hero in the novel Uncle Tom's Cabin. Henson wrote his autobiography called The Life of Josiah Henson, formerly a slave and an inhabitant of Canada, as narrated by himself. His stamp was issued 100 years after his death. And I only have a first day covers and a plate block of his stamp. I haven't been able to get a full sheet of his stamps. So I'm still looking to try to get that. The most I've been able to do is a plate block. I'm sorry. Canada Black History Month. Just a little information here about that. Blacks were free in Canada, but they still experienced segregation and racism. It was not until the 1960s, 1970s that the laws changed in Canada, paving the way for more people to immigrate there. Following the Immigration Acts in 62 and 67, 6,400 West Indians came to Canada. Other Blacks immigrated to Canada from countries throughout the world, really. A majority of Black Canadians are of Caribbean origin. So in fact, Blacks only number about 3.5% of the Canadian population today. So they grew over the years, but that's the amount of, that's their number. They're 3.5% of Canadians are Black. In 1995, the House of Commons officially recognized February as Black History Month. So that kind of is similar to what we do here in the United States. We recognize February as Black History Month here in the United States. And Canada offered Blacks the freedom to live where they wanted, to be on juries, to run for public office, and similar things of that nature. Black Canadian stamps features athletes, musicians, politicians, and historical figures. Many were the first in their fields to accomplish what they did in Canada, and many were activists. They were very active in running for political office or active in fighting segregation in Canada and to make a way for other African Canadians to be able to be recognized. Next, we have the second Black History stamp issued in Canada was for Pretoria White. She was, it was issued in December 17th, 1999 as part of the Millennium Collection, right around 2000. Her stamp was one of 4 stamps in a mini sheet of singers on stamps. I think there were 2 or 3 mini sheets issued at that time. I had hers. That was a hard sheet to get. Took me quite a while to get a hold of it. I had 1 stamp for for a long time. I didn't even know. I thought it was a full sheet, but that's after when I finally got it, I saw it. And I found out it was one of sheets of singers on stamps, and it was just 4 stamps on that sheet. 2 Black History stamps were issued in 2005. One was for Grant Ferg, hockey player, and that was issued in January. One was for Oscar Peterson, and he was a Canadian musician, and that one was issued in August of 2005. Grant Ferg was part of a sheet of stamps recognizing hockey players, and Oscar Peterson had a mini sheet and a full sheet of stamps issued for him. So I began to see a pattern there, but still wasn't quite sure everything that was going on. Okay, so in 2009, the Canadian Post began to issue Black History stamps yearly on the 1st of February, which, like I said, was their Black History Month. So in 2009, 2010, stamps were issued in full sheets of 20 stamps, pretty much like what the US does. From 2011 to the present, a booklet of 10 stamps is issued. You can't get the full sheets anymore. They only issue it in the booklet, and you'll see one later in the presentation. They also issued a first day cover. The Canadian Post also issues a first day cover, and the back flap of the first day cover has the historical information about the stamp. 24 stamps have been issued to date to honor individuals or groups, and I want to acknowledge our webmaster. See 23 people on the call tonight. Hopefully Clarence is on here and we can holler at him later, but our webmaster, Clarence McKnight, he has the complete listing of all the Canadian Black History stamps on a web page on the ESPR website, and that's the that's our address for our website right there. And
I'm here,
Clarence,
Howard.
all right, thanks, Clarence. Good to hear you, brother. Glad you could make it. And he was, our website was awarded gold by the APS web competition in 2017 and 2018. I don't know whether he tried again in 2019 for the 3-year perfecto, but maybe we can see later and he can tell us later about that. But we did win it. He did win it 2 years in a row. So proud of him. We also have we got a lot of information on our website. So please, if you have an opportunity, go to the website and check us out. You can also join through the website. So we'll be glad to have you as a part of our stamp club. We are an international stamp club, and we do have members across the world. So, sorry. Keep rolling the wrong way here. I want to make note, one of the stamps, Viola Desmond, her stamp was issued on February 1st, 2012. She was born November the 8th, 1946 in Nova Scotia, Canada. She was arrested. She was a business lady in Nova Scotia, Canada, and her car broke down and she had taken it to the garage, and they told her a couple hours to get her car fixed, so she decided she would go watch a movie. And blacks at that time could not sit on the ground floor of the movie theater, so she was supposed to sit in the balcony, but she decided she was going to sit on the ground floor, so that's what she did. I think it cost 1 cent more to sit in the balcony, and she didn't pay the 1 cent either. Okay, court case helped to dismantle segregation laws in Nova Scotia. The community rallied around her when her case came to court. Of course, she was convicted. She had to pay a fine and pay the penny that she didn't pay at the movie theater. And I think the fine was like $20 or $25. But her case helped to bring about other cases, and they were able to help dismantle the segregation laws in that time. She passed in 1965, but was pardoned on April the 15th, 2010. So some 6 decades later, 60 years later, I think 63 if you're counting, she was finally received a pardon from the Canadian government. Then that, not only did she appear on a Canadian stamp, she made history a second time by being the first African Canadian to have her face placed on Canadian currency. Her picture was placed on a Canadian $10 bill. I forget what the currency rate is between us and Canada. I think the dollar is a little bit more, so you get less Canadian money, or a little bit more Canadian money, but I think our currency is valued at a little bit more. But I liken her to Rosa Parks here in the US, who refused to give up her seat on the bus in Montgomery, Alabama. And they boycotted, and it really set off some events here in America in which that helped us to desegregate America. And here is the $10 bill on which her picture was placed. The stadium on the back is the Canadian Museum for Human Rights. Is the other side of the bill is what that has. And that $10 bill entered circulation on November the 19th, 2018. In fact, her sister attended the unveiling ceremony. As I said, she passed in 1965, so her sister represented the family at the unveiling ceremony that was done. And her sister was just overjoyed. I've seen some of the reruns of the ceremony. Her sister was just overjoyed at such an honor being placed on their family, to have her picture on Canadian currency. There was talk in the US about placing a woman on currency. It was proposed to put Harriet Tubman's picture on the currency here on the $20 bill. And people were really pushing for this. They had talked to the Secretary of the Treasury during the Obama administration and thought they had everything lined up. It was going to appear on the $20 bill, and in 2020, it was going to be released to coincide with the anniversary of the 19th Amendment, when women got the right to vote. But it ran into a snag during the current administration, so the proposal is on hold. And Treasury Secretary said that they had to do some additional security measures to the bill, to the $20 bill, so it may not be issued until 2028. So, and I don't know if her picture will ever appear on the bill, but just a note of information there for you. Okay. All right. The next African Canadian I want to mention to you, and if many of you know him, Nelson Mandela. He was not born in Canada, but he visited there several times after he was freed from prison in South Africa. In 2015, he was honored with a stamp, with the Canadian stamp. When I saw it, I was like, Nelson Mandela? I didn't know he was a Canadian citizen, but they bestowed honorary Canadian citizenship on him. It was passed by Parliament on June the 12th, 2001, and it recognized him as a moral leader of South Africa and really a moral leader of all of humanity. So they bestowed that honor on him. A stamp booklet and a mini sheet were issued in his honor, and you can see those here. This is the stamp here is from the booklet, and this here is the mini sheet that was issued in his honor. All right, get up here. All right, the next group of stamps I have is just some of the stamps that have been issued over the years. The number 2 Construction Battalion, as in the United States and in Canada, Blacks were permitted to join the military, but they weren't permitted to carry weapons or fight. So the number 2 Construction Battalion actually went into the forest, cut down trees, and built projects, whatever projects they were tasked to build, but they had to go into the forest and cut down the trees in order to do that. Colored hockey players, you'll see a little bit more on this a little later, but this stamp was issued in 2019, or no, 2020, this year. This is the stamp that was issued, colored hockey players. The two at the top here to the right, Africanville, Nova Scotia, and Hogan's Alley, British Columbia. The story from the Africanville, it was a Black community outside of Halifax in Canada. Blacks were allowed to work and to help build the city of Halifax, but they couldn't live in Halifax, so they built a community outside Halifax. It didn't have running water, but they were proud of their community. They built a really big church outside that all the Blacks attended and whatnot, but the government decided in 1970 that they needed some additional land to expand the township, so they went in with bulldozers. They relocated all the people from the town, from that district, went in with bulldozers, bulldozed down the church and all the houses, and took that land for as part of the city of Halifax. At first, they didn't want it, and Blacks weren't. There was the only place Blacks could live at that for many years there. At the bottom, you see Harriet Tubman and some of her family members. That's the Liberian stamp. I was able to find that on eBay, and it's on the way. I don't have it in my hand yet, but it's on the way for my collection. So really good portion there. Oh man, I gotta speed up. The next one, a few more stamps you'll see. First one, Fergie Jenkins was a ball player, famous ball player in Canada. The next to him is Albert Jackson. He is believed to be the first mailman in Canada. So he was carrying the mail, and he was the first African Canadian to be a postal, to work for the post office in Canada. Curry Best, that's a sample of how the booklets look, the front cover, and then 10 stamps inside of the booklet. First day covers, this is a first day cover that the postal, Canada Post puts out, and they put out a first day cover for each issue. The United States has started to do a similar thing to put out first day covers for issues, and that's only happened in the last few years. We have cachet makers and many others that do first day covers here in America, but now the post office over the last couple of years have gotten into doing first day covers. Lincoln Alexander was the first, he was a Canadian lawyer. He was the first member of Parliament. So that's why he had a stamp done in his honor. And Kay Livingston was a social activist, an actress, and a broadcaster in Canada. Kind of similar to our Gwen Eiffel type that we had a stamp issued for in the Black Heritage series today, this year. Next, just to hit on this real quickly here, African Canadian stamp designer, the lady who designed the colored hockey player, you see her right there. She's behind the Canadian Black History commemorative stamp that came out this year. So she's holding the stamp booklet, and the stamp cover is right in back there by her elbow and whatnot. So, and the thing is, this wasn't the first time she had designed stamps for the postage stamps for the Canadian Post. She had done 5 or 6 of them earlier, starting, including 5 more that she had done earlier. The first was in 2009. And as I was looking through my book of Canadian stamps, I saw her name several different times on the first day covers, and I was like, who's this lady? So that gave me, kind of nudged me in that direction to Google her and look her up and see who she was, what she was doing, so that so I went and found the extra information out about her. Notable, just want to note, African American stamp designers, we've got St. James. She actually was our guest speaker at our 25th anniversary of ASPR. She came with us to North Carolina, spent the entire weekend. We had a great time just kind of talking to her and quizzing her. She did several of the Kwanzaa stamps and whatnot is what she has done. Then there was also Jerry Pinckney, he had also been at an ASPR event that we had held and was a guest speaker for during one of the stamp shows. He came as a lecturer. So we, the designers, we try and get them in when we're having stamp meetings or at a show so that they can talk to us and present us information, maybe share with us, if the USPS is going to do additional things, if they have some new things in the works. Also, I want to mention Thomas Blackshear II. He was commissioned by the USS to do numerous Black heritage stamps early on in the series. He did quite a few. In fact, there's a book that he put together in 1991 for the Postal Service, and it has some really beautiful pictures, and it comes with a package of stamps that you can put in it, but the book is exquisite. It really is. You can still find it on eBay if you're interested in getting one for your collection. So just as a note. In conclusion, I enjoy stamp collecting. Many countries throughout the world issue African Americans or Africans on stamps. President Obama, Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, American athletes, American musicians, other notable Blacks from America. It takes quite a while to get a stamp issued here in America. You got to be deceased for, it's now 3 years. It used to be 10-year statute for you, a minimum of 10 years before you could have a stamp done in your honor, but that has changed and you can have one done in 2 to 3 years now here in America. But I initially purchased many of my stamps from eBay, but the last few years I purchased them directly from the Canadian Post. Just go on their website when the new stamp is issued in February, and most of them are issued on February the 1st. So you can go on a few days after that and purchase the stamp and the first day cover, and they'll ship it directly to you. I have all 24 of the African Canadian stamps issued to date. And like I said, if you go on our website, you can see the complete listing. Clients has a picture of the stamp and a little bit of information and the issue date right there. I hope to visit Canada one day and go to a stamp show or go to a stamp store. Long range plans is to exhibit some of my stamps and to, get into exhibiting, but I don't think that's going to happen this year. Not quite sure. I was looking at all the stamp cancellations today. Quite a few shows have been canceled. APS didn't have the August show up there yet, so I'm not sure whether you guys are going to have that or not, but we'll see. Just a few of the other stamps from my collection. Martin Luther King stamp from Niger. I collect him. I have quite a few from him. The Commonwealth of Nations, which is pretty much British countries that were originally territories of Britain, but later they were given independence. They're in Africa, Asia, Caribbean, the Americas, Europe, the Pacific. They're all over the place. There's like about 50 of them, and they issue stamps almost yearly. Just about every year they issue a stamp for an African American too. Nelson Mandela, he has a ton of stamps and they issue pretty much every year for him. He was a Nobel Peace Prize winner, and they just hit a milestone with the Nobel Peace Prizes. So just about every year you see something from Nelson Mandela. These stamps are from Antigua. And also I have President Obama. He was president of the US, and like I said, he isn't deceased yet, so you won't find too many stamps. You won't find a stamp for him in the collection, and you won't find a coin for him in the US President coin collection because he's not deceased yet either. So, but eventually they'll get around to doing one, but it may be quite a ways down the road because he's a young guy. But this stamp is from Antigua also. So that's pretty much my lot of stamps. I collect way too much. But questions and answers, and there's my email. and whatnot. So hopefully I stay within my allotted time here, Heidi.
Plenty of time, Howard. You're great. You're great. Everyone was watching with rapt attention. Okay, so everyone remember there's that little parallel, that little bar that illuminates with some buttons. There's a camera, so you could feasibly, you know, you could take a screenshot of this. Bravo, Mr. Ingram. Very nice. We'll go ahead and stop sharing your screen, per favor, so we can see your face.
Okay.
Perfect. Well, lovely, lovely, lovely. What it, you know, each night to go through this experience and learn so much is great. And you know, I was saying in the chat box that I did not know, and I told you earlier, Howard, that I didn't even know that there was segregation in Canada, you know, so stamps teach.
Oh,
There's
yes.
no doubt about it. You taught me so much. Let's see, I'm gonna go through the chat box. Richard, why don't you go ahead? That was an interest that you had a couple of cool chats, comments.
Richard?
He's gonna unmute.
Oh, there he is.
Right there. I really enjoyed that. Thank you, Howard. That was a fantastic presentation. I actually learned something as well. I'm quite interested in black stamp designers from around the world, and I was totally unaware of that designer who you were discussing. Do you I've got well, there's loads of questions. I'm not really aware. Well, I was also unaware of the segregation in Canada. Do you know of any good books to read on it? Also, you're a banknote collector. I collect notes as well. Do you also collect people of African heritage on banknotes? And do you also collect by designer?
No, not that much. You know, the stamps and coins are the big things. I collect silver coins. American Eagle is the big thing that I collect, but I also collect British Britannica from Britain. I collect that silver coin. It's mostly silver coins. I do have a few banknotes, some of the early American banknotes and whatnot. And I've noticed on them, you know, that some of them have in the center have black characters, but I've never done much investigation or anything to them. It's one of the lighter parts of my hobbies.
I know there's a very famous black poet in England called Benjamin Zephaniah. He's very passionate about banknotes. But if you're ever into that, it's worth checking some of the Kenyan notes, some of the Caribbean notes. Really beautiful designs. I think you'd really enjoy them. But thank you again. Cheers.
Right. All right, I'll look into that. I have your email, so we'll be corresponding.
Yeah, please do keep in touch. Keep in touch.
All right. What happened to Heidi? She looks like she disappeared.
Awesome presentation, Howard.
Thank you, Clarence. I
Awesome
appreciate it, guy.
I just want to say that one other person that we that's also a stamp designer, his name is Higgin Bonds. She was one of the designers after Jerry Pinkney, who did the first Black Heritage stamp. And she is awesome. And just a little bit about her is that when she was in college, she had to change her name. Her real name is Barbara Bonds. She changed her name to Higgins Bonds in order to apply for jobs, because people wasn't hiring women back in the time when she first came out of school. And she kept that name to this day, so she's known as Higgins Bonds. So she designed quite a few different stamps. She did some plates also too, along with Jerry Pinkney and other people that you have also mentioned. Also, a young guy too who did a Marvin Gaye stamp. Forgot his name on the top of my head, but he also designed stamps. There's also a special page on the website to talk about all of the stamp designers on there.
Right.
Awesome job.
Right. I saw that, Clarence, and you've done an awesome job on the website. You have so much information and stamp information on the website there. So it's a wealth. It's a valuable resource for our members and anyone really who logs on to it.
No, like how you said, it's all about teaching history. Each stamp tells a story. Each stamp tells, each stamp you collect, Amelia Earhart, when I go to schools, any stamp that you see tells a story on something. When I go talk to kids, right away, I tell them about the stamp. It could be anything, history, geography. That's what the stamp collection is all about.
Absolutely, and I give you kudos for you've been in the stamps, and every February you're in the library in New Jersey where you live and whatnot, and you do some awesome work there, son. So keep it up. And then Charlene's got her museum, her traveling museum, and we really appreciate her too. She's a board member of ESPR, and we're just so proud of her too, and all the work that she does for the stamp, for ESPR organization.
Hey everybody, this is Tom. Heidi got thrown off the internet, and so asked me to step in here to help everybody out. So I'm just kind of getting caught up with the everything that's going on. Howard, have you been asked the question from Melanie Rogers?
No, not yet.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I hadn't answered it yet. I see what she has. Heidi had took down my presentation. The very beginning of my presentation, you saw her picture and whatnot. I think that was Desmond. But yeah, the stamp there, did I pick the wrong one? Let me see. I might have to go grab my stamp booklet. No, that was her.
Can you?
That was Desmond.
Can you put your presentation back up?
Yeah, hold on.
Okay.
It's still up on my computer. You just need to make me a presenter, and so I can share it again, and we can go back.
Let me find you here. Looks like you are still a presenter, Howard.
Oh, really? Okay. Well,
yeah.
She did something. I can't see the presentation. It's not being shared right.
All right. I just made you an organizer, so maybe that'll help out.
An organizer. So I don't have the button to share the screen.
Okay.
I grabbed that off of something on the internet, but it does say Desmond.
Mm-hmm. All right. Ooh, wait a minute.
Claire, I found that link on Wikipedia, and it's got history that showed her in from Canada.
Let me see if I can just put her put my screen up.
You've got it, Howard. From the picture, and it says Desmond right on it. So I grabbed it from a source of Canadian pictures, Black History pictures that were on there. So, but it looks like it says Irene Davis Desmond. So I'm not sure. And all the information I had, they called her Viola Desmond.
Right.
Was the name that I'm so familiar with, but
it says Viola Irene in her bio. Viola Irene.
Okay, that could be it.
Melanie, I see your microphone's open. Does that help answer your question?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Yes, it does. That was the name I was wondering about, because Irene Davis Desmond, I didn't understand the significance. So. And then I see her name on the, going vertical on the right there, bottom right, so.
Right.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Appreciate the question.
Anyone else have a question for us tonight? Howard's waiting. You can open your mic if you'd like, or just put something in the chat box, and I'll make sure to get you up here.
Oh, it's Richard Judge. I had the privilege to vote for Lincoln. Alexander. Oh, he's the guy in the parliament, right? I was looking at one of the questions, or maybe just a comment from Richard Judge. He was saying he had the privilege to vote for Richard Lincoln Alexander, which is the, hold on.
Yeah, that's correct.
He's down here, Lincoln Alexander.
Oh, okay.
He was the first Black to be in the parliament in Canada. He also had several other accolades to his credit. I think they said he was the first lieutenant governor of Canada.
Mm-hmm.
That is correct.
But he was quite well known and received several distinctions, and they honored him on a stamp. I think he just passed a few years ago, right? Maybe 5 years ago or something, in 2012, if I'm kind of remembering my some of my information correctly. I may be wrong on the date, but I think he's passed in 2012. So that's great.
I was just noticing, Howard, the Ferguson Jenkins stamp that you have on that page. I've been talking quite a bit to Jim Gates, the head librarian of the Baseball Hall of Fame, and he's also a stamp collector. We're going to have we're going to have an interview. I did an interview with him, and he's going to be that interview is going to be in the June edition of the American Philatelist. And we were just going back and forth. I bring it up as a significance because the fact that Canada does put living ball players on stamps, and obviously the U.S. does not. And we just been chatting about in particular, and this may get a little bit away from Canadians, but we've been talking about the 1939 baseball stamp, and there was a lot of debate. That was the first official U.S. stamp about baseball, although there was a Philippine stamp before that. But we've been going back and forth about that stamp, and they were going to debate about who they were going to put on, and eventually they decided, as if you're aware, they just decided to put some youths playing baseball and such on there because of this exact reason, not putting living ball players or any living on stamps. So.
Yeah. Apparently the American the USPS here in America is a lot more strict.
Right.
Although they are loosening up a little bit. President Bush's stamp came out like a year and a half after he passed. So they must have already had that one kind of in the works or something.
Yeah.
Because it didn't take long on President Bush stamp.
Well, it's kind of been, I was in the news media for a long time, and you always try to be prepared for those kind of unfortunate circumstances. So the Postal Service, I think, is reacting to that kind of thing as well. Getting back to your topic, is does anyone else have a question for Howard, or want to discuss anything about his presentation?
This is Mike Lamothe. I wonder if you could tell me more about Kate Livingstone.
Kate Livingstone. Okay. One. Some of them I have not examined. She was a socialist, activist, an actor, and a broadcaster. So that's, I just looked her up a little bit. I don't have too much information on her, but a broadcaster. So I kind of equate her to Gwen Ifill, the stamp that was issued in the Black Heritage Series this year, of being a broadcaster and activist. So many of the people from Canada were activists. They went around, they got involved in politics and advocated for Blacks to do more in Canada. Canada's a little different. from America, but not totally different from America in that they had segregation and racism. So people had to work really hard to be recognized in Canada. So, but I said a lot of this, the information on her stamps and whatnot is, it's just a brief, real brief history is all you get on the stamp covers, that the first day covers that the Postal Society puts out, that Canada Post puts out, is real brief history, you know, so there's not too much information on the back of the first day cover. Mm-hmm. Some of the stamps I looked at a little bit more. I've been tinkering with this for a couple of weeks since my first try at it, so I tried to add in as much information as I could, so in case you guys had questions tonight.
Right. Melanie has a question in here about she wanted to be reminded when Canada issued its first stamp with an African Canadian. When was that?
Okay, that was in 1983. The first was Josiah Henson. He escaped on the railroad. It was 100 years after his death, Josiah Henson. Let me roll back to the page where he's at. There he is. He lived from 1789 to 1883, and they issued the stamp in September 16th, 1983. So that was 100 years after his passing. And that was the first stamp that they issued. And then it took a few years before they issued the next one. He was the first in the series. White was the second one that they issued. And she was done in 1999. And then the next two that they issued, which was, he was the first, and then she was the second. Mm-hmm. One, Pretoria White, was the second stamp that they issued in 1999. Then they issued two stamps in 2005. One was for Grant Furr, the hockey player, mm-hmm. and the other one was for Oscar Peterson. They issued one early in the year on January the 29th, and the other one on August the 15th. But lately they've been issuing both stamps. If they issue two stamps, they issue them pretty much the same day. On February the 1st has been their date of late. And remember, in 1995 was when they officially recognized Black History Month, right, in Canada. So from then on February the 1st, each year, once they got their act together, they began to issue all stamps on February the 1st of the first day of February, first day of the Black History Month in Canada. So, but yes, thank you for the question.
Getting a lot of really nice comments here in the chat as I was getting up to speed and going through here. You've done a very nice job tonight, so thank you for everything. Does anybody else have any other questions? Scott English pointed out that we were talking about presidents and U.S. presidents, that they have stamps issued in the year following their death, issued on their birthday, and U.S. takes 3 years before recognizing a U.S. citizen on a stamp after they pass.
Yeah. It used to be 10 years, but I like the 3-year rule. They come out quicker. And like I said, the same with my coins. I collect coins, and right, the U.S., the Bureau, the Mint did a coin series of U.S. presidents. And of course, they can't do the last few. They can't do Carter and Clinton and Obama and whatnot because they haven't passed yet. Right. But President Bush, they are talking about doing his coin, I think, next year, his quarter next year. Right. They'll bring out his quarter and issue it here in the U.S., you know. But so the stamp came out fairly quickly.
Right. Are you or anyone on the chat aware of when is there another planned release of a stamp in Canada that as far as an African American? I know that the hockey stamp was just put out. Obviously, it shouldn't just be an event. It should be something that's done on a regular basis, right?
Right. They like I said, they normally issue the stamp in February, or if they're going to issue 2 stamps, they'll issue both of them in February. Hold on. When they did these 2 stamps, Africaville and Hogan's Alley, they did both of those in February. And a couple of, when they did these 2 stamps, Lincoln Alexander and Livingston, they did in February. So if they're going to issue both of them, it seems like they could possibly be in February. But, you know, the postal systems, they don't have no hard and fast rules.
Well, and they should, and they shouldn't have hard and fast rules. They shouldn't, you know, I mean, African Americans should be on stamps year round.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So they could issue another one, but they only issued, hold on. The number 2 construction battalion, they only issued that, I think that year they only issued that 1 stamp, which was a couple of years ago. And the hockey players this year, they only issued that in February. So that one might be the only one that they're going to do this year for Black History Month. Well, especially with the pandemic going on and everything, and a lot of shut down and slowed up and everything. I can't imagine that anyone may be doing that. They may be doing another one.
Right.
So,
anyone else have any other questions?
But check them out. Like I said, you can get them on eBay. You should be still able to, if the colored hockey players aren't sold out at the Canadian Post. That's, I think I saw a few on eBay, but you know, in the secondary market, you always pay more than what you do at the post office. So I've learned my lesson. Go to the post office or go to the mint and buy your stuff and try and buy it on the first day.
Howard, I had a question. Do they you said they come in 10 stamps in a booklet? Is that how Canada issues all their stamps, or is it just for the Black Heritage Series, or what?
I think it's just for the Black Heritage Series. I really haven't explored that, Charlotte, so I can't say with definite yes on it, but I know for the last 7 or 8 years, they've only done the Black Heritage Series, has only been in the booklet, so. And I don't collect anything other than the Black Heritage, so I really can't say with certainty. But I don't know. Maybe all of it's just in. Don't know. I'll check into it. I'll take a look. But looking on their website, I'm trying to think of, you know, being on their website. I don't think everything comes in booklet form, so I would say probably no.
Right.
Almost everything comes in booklet forms. They've ranged last year from booklets of 6 up to 20. They've occasionally, on the regular issues, also do quarrels of 100.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
One of the Christmas stamps last year was a booklet of 6. It might have been the international rate.
Okay. All right. Excellent.
I see
we have knowledge.
I see our hostess with the mostest.
Oh, there she is. He's back.
She's got internet back in her neighborhood. How's it going now?
Oh, man.
No, but we can't hear you.
She's muted.
You must have muted. There you go. There you go. Oh, you're on your phone. What do you got? Blackout?
I'm on my phone.
Looks like it. Looks like. Oh, there you go. Looks like you needed some light.
I needed some light. Yes.
Storm up in Pennsylvania.
No, our little town lost internet.
Yeah. So I think
wow.
It seems like it seems like everyone's questions have been answered. Seems like everybody's had a great discussion tonight, and Heidi, do you have anything to add as we close things off here?
Well, I just want to thank again, Howard, that you came back on, and for all our friends from Esper. Thank you so much to all of our members. And, the last week I was, Scott Tiffany of the APRL was giving me resources and references to provide after the stamp chats. And insert your own adverb, sadly, disappointingly, whatever. There were no references for tonight. So, that just speaks to the necessity of more more chats like this, more literature. And, I really thank Esper for coming on, and please be a regular host, and with an adopted book, maybe we can buy some books.
That's right.
On behalf of the library. And if you want to donate any books to the library, that would be adopt a book. So
yeah,
those are my parting words, friends. I thank you very much for everyone joining the call, and go check out stamps.org if you haven't.
Well, hold on a second. Let's also remind.
I do want to say one thing before we depart.
Sure.
Like I said, I visited with up to Bellefonte, Pennsylvania, and the APS office. When I arrived there, I just saw the outside of the building, and I had no idea how awesome that place is. But once I got inside and I went to the library and visited with them, they have an awesome library. Awesome library.
Thank you. We hope we'll be able to welcome everyone back inside the American Philatelic Center and the library very, very soon. Just wanted to mention to everybody before we go, we have a town hall meeting on Monday night at 7 o'clock. Scott English will be, our executive director will be part of that and be answering your questions. If you go to stamps.org and look on the page where we have all of the stamp chats, the invitation is there. It's also been emailed to all members, and probably several other places that you can find it. Please sign up. I understand that we've got quite a number of people already registered for the event, and
over hundreds.
we're looking forward to that. So please take a look at that. Also, that's going to be our chat for Monday. We have a few fewer chats next week. We're reevaluating where we are with Stamp Chat. It's not going to go away. We're going to actually enhance it in a number of ways. I think it'll be very valuable to everyone. I'll be rolling out those changes very soon, and Heidi will be passing along those things as we go along. So, Heidi, if with that, I guess we can conclude tonight, right? She's muted, but she's smiling. So I'm glad you were able to join us at the end.
I said thanks so much for your support, friend.
Great. So everyone have a great weekend, and
join APS.
We'll see you next week. Good night.
Thank Esper members. Thank you all Esper members for attending.
Thanks everybody.
Thanks very much. Have a good evening.